Paris Jackson stepped onto the witness stand wearing a dark navy blazer, her father's favorite color. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice was steady. She reached into a worn file folder and pulled out a yellowing envelope addressed, in unmistakable cursive, "For Paris, not before you're 21. If they come for you, show them this." The judge asked, "Can you confirm who wrote that?" She nodded. "Michael Joseph Jackson, my father." Inside was a 3-page letter dated early, 2008, just 18 months before his death. It began with no greeting, only a chilling line. "There are people in this industry I was told to never name, but your safety means more to me than silence." He continued, "There are houses in the hills where no music is played, only silence and instruction. You'll hear them talk about training, but they don't mean vocals. They mean obedience." Then came the warning. "The one they call SC is not a producer. He is a system. If you see him, don't sing." Federal investigators immediately flagged the initials. Those watching the ongoing video coverage of the Diddy case recognized them, SC. The same initials appear in pulse memos, rehab intake logs, and compliance override protocols. And now, for the first time, Michael Jackson, arguably the most powerful solo artist in music history, was linking that same figure to the safety of his daughter. Paris told the court, "That winter he became obsessed with keeping me out of studios." He said, "They're circling again, the ones from 1993. She admitted she didn't understand at the time, but she remembered him pacing the house and whispering strange phrases. "They put contracts in mirrors now. Don't sign anything in a room with no corners." She paused before continuing. "He made me promise that if anyone tried to mentor me through a foundation, I had to call him first. He said that's where they hide." Page 2 of the letter revealed another name. "Colomemes is not the king. He's the courier. Watch who he delivers you to." This marked the first instance of Michael Jackson being tied, directly or indirectly, to Sean Combs in any official legal context. The judge asked her, "Did your father ever say Sean Combs's name out loud?" She shook her head. "No, he'd only call him the Velvet Hand. He said, 'They make you feel chosen.'" Then came the question, "What did they really come for?" Paris took a breath. "Because everything my dad feared is happening again. The training, the silence, the looping. And this time they came for girls I know, dancers, stylists, some of them younger than me. This wasn't a father's paranoia," she said. "It was a blueprint for survival, sealed in an envelope and written by a man who tried to warn the world through music, but knew they'd only listen when it was too late." She recounted nights where he wouldn't sleep, nights when she'd hear him talking to no one. "In 2008 I saw him arguing with a mirror," she said. "He told me, 'You can't see them, but they're always watching. They like reflections because they can hide the offer in the light.' She was only 10, but remembered the phrase word for word. Never sign anything in a room with no corners." That line would later prove key. Court records confirmed that many high-end studios built for artist development featured curved walls, domed ceilings, no sharp angles, nothing to create echoes, nothing to leave a trace. Paris explained, "He told me corners were where the truth hid. If a room had none, someone was trying to control the sound and the memory." Security logs from Michael's private estate included a 2006 note, "Do not allow SC past Gate B, no entry even if name is changed or masked." Beneath, that were scribbled phrases, "Velvet voice, velvet hand, hidden contracts," underlined twice, "No recordings when he visits." Beside it, the initials DC, which investigators now believe stood for delivery courier, a term for individuals who moved artists quietly between estates, shows, or so-called training centers. Multiple witnesses in the current Diddy trial have referenced the same process. Velvet men arriving at night. Someone taken quietly, no questions asked. In 2011, Sean Combs quietly purchased a home in the Hollywood Hills through a shell company. Blueprints of the home show a circular main living room, 0 corners, no hard edges. Designed for sound control. Or something else. An underground studio labeled Phase C. A private elevator accessible only from the guest house. And most disturbingly, a room with glass walls but no ceiling. labeled as the Visual Reorientation Suite. In the letter, Michael Jackson had written, "They put you in glass so you think it's freedom, but glass bends the light and hides what's really happening." Paris told the court, he said they built rooms to scramble your mind, that mirrors and glass weren't for vanity. They were for reflection disruption, so you couldn't remember what actually happened inside. A 2009 entry in her diary. Read, "Daddy said a man offered him the mirror room again. He told them no. He had said, 'I've already seen what they do with sound.'" In a personal letter discovered in 2020 and authenticated by 2 Jackson estate attorneys, Michael had written, "The ones who offer you the most light are often the ones who take the most sound. And when you can't sing without hearing their approval, you're no longer singing at all." Multiple victims in the Diddy case have used similar language. "He made it feel luxurious, like you were lucky." Paris said, "My dad always called it velvet because velvet covers sharp things, and the sharpest thing in Hollywood is silence." Warned her about the voice that comes with promises, the hand that signs without ink, and the rooms that echo but never remember. When Paris was 18, her modeling career was rising, and acting offers were coming in. Then she received an email from someone using the name Luca S., affiliated with a creative executive placement firm. They claimed to represent a private music consortium, not a label, but a development guild. She testified, "They told me my father had cleared the path, that they could make me the next message carrier." That same phrase, message carrier, has appeared in 3 separate testimonies in the Diddy trial. One dancer said she was told she'd deliver presents through choreography. A stylist testified she was trained to dress stars for conditioning influence. An ex-vocal coach said she quit when her student was being groomed to loop phrasing for delivery to mass audiences. Paris believes they were trying to reintegrate her into the very system her father warned her about. "They said I didn't need to be a star, just a symbol." After declining their offer, she noticed strange changes. A canceled magazine spread. A last-minute editorial replacement. A surge of Twitter hate calling her inauthentic. Collaborators stopped responding. "It was like someone flipped a switch," she said. "I went from being a legacy to being labeled unstable, just like he warned me." In 2009, just before his death, Michael filmed a private rehearsal session intended for family archives. At timestamp 3:44, he pauses mid-song, stares into the camera, and silently mouths the words, "Tell Paris mirror light is false." The clip was never made public, until this trial. The court played it 3 times. Each time his lips clearly formed those words. Paris testified, "He knew the light would tempt me, but he also knew how to break its spell." She then revealed a bracelet her father gave her, a charm containing a small shard of mirror. He told her, "If the light ever makes you doubt what's real, look at it through this, not their mirror, yours." The email from Luca S. ended with a final pitch. "Your father opened the portal, now it's your turn to carry the echo." She replied with one sentence, "I don't echo. I remember." To the world, she was just his daughter. But Paris wasn't only carrying his name, she was carrying the warning, and now, the proof. Former Security Chief James Laurel took the stand holding a single folder, his expression tense. "Michael trusted very few people near the end," he began. "But there were moments when he let the mask slip. What he told me changed everything I thought I knew about that world." He described an event Michael was scheduled to attend, a private after-party hosted by powerful executives. As soon as Michael entered, he froze. "He just stood there, staring at the stage," James said. "The floor was red glass. The ceiling, all mirrors. No microphones. Just 3 white spotlights and a couch." Then Michael turned to him and said, "This isn't a concert. This is a contract ceremony." Insiders confirm this ritualized, performance-marked compliance. No words, no music, just presence. Symbolic consent. It silently finalized high-stakes deals and bound the performer into specific influence loops. James testified that Michael refused to go on stage. "He told me they want me to echo something that doesn't belong to me." Then he walked out. The room emptied, silent, No footage ever released. 3 months later, during prep for a press shoot, James noticed a glint in the corner of a dressing mirror. He unscrewed the frame. Inside, wiring, a lens, a hidden mic disguised as a light bulb. Michael stared at it and whispered, "They always watch the voice, especially when it's trying to heal." James submitted a photo of the setup, dated and verified. He told the court, the system didn't just want his sound, they wanted his ability to move emotion, to control how people feel, not just what they hear. In one of Michael's journal entries, he wrote, "They study resonance, not lyrics. It's why they let you sing, as long as you don't feel." 3 victims in the Diddy case also referred to a red room. One called it the place where they see who's ready to leave themselves behind. Another said, "It's not a place, it's a test. You walk in whole and come out echoing." Michael faced it too, but he walked away. James Lurrell ended his testimony with a final memory. "The last night I worked for him, he hugged me and said, 'You know why they hate me? Because I sing without the system.' Then he added, 'And I told my daughter, if they ever come for Paris, tell her he never signed it.'" The velvet room, the contract ceremony, the voice they tried to loop, but couldn't, and the father who spent his final years not just protecting a legacy, but preparing a daughter to finish the fight. Paris stood up, reached into her coat pocket, and pulled out a small red envelope. She walked directly to the judge and handed it to him. No lawyer, no announcement. Inside was a USB drive labeled Jackson Vault T2011. For Paris, if they ever ask. The audio file on the drive was 91 seconds long. Michael Jackson, alone. Speaking, softly, likely recorded sometime in 2007. He says they used to call it a gift. Then they called it a product. Then they said, "We'll take it from here." He goes silent. Then they build the walls with compliments and fill the rooms with velvet. And when you try to leave, they say you're hurting. The ones who believed in you. He ends, "I'm recording this because someday I may not be able to say it." After the audio played, Paris explained that her father gave her a teddy bear a few weeks after this was recorded. On the tag, he wrote, "If it ever feels too quiet, look in the stitching." She never knew what he meant until last year. When Taiwan the stitching began to unravel, she found a tiny chip embedded near the bear's neck, on it a second audio file. But this one was from Paris herself. The court played the second file. Paris couldn't have been older than 7. The audio was fuzzy, but you could hear her whisper, "Daddy said, if I ever get lost, not to listen to the man with the soft voice, because he makes you forget your name." Then silence followed by her younger voice singing, "They can't hear you if you scream inside." She told the judge, "I don't remember recording that, but I remember the fear." Federal prosecutors immediately requested a recess. One agent reportedly said off camera, "If Jackson protected his daughter with this level of foresight, then this wasn't paranoia, it was preemptive testimony." Michael used a coded vault system for his unreleased archives. Insiders now believe T1211 was his personal shorthand for targeted 12 Room 11. Room 11 was his private studio, the only one without external security access. It's also where, according to his housekeeper, he'd go when he didn't trust the walls. She stood before the court holding the bear and said, "I didn't come here to hurt anyone. I came here because he told me they'd try again, and they did. This isn't about fame, it's about freedom, and someone has to say it first. Not every legacy is a song. Some are whispers in mirrors, files in vaults, and warnings, sewn inside a childhood toy." In his 2002 will notarized and certified, Michael Jackson included a single handwritten line beneath the typed legal clauses. It read, "No inheritance may be used to activate the Velvet Clause." Attorneys at the time marked it as non-legal phrasing, likely symbolic. But in court today, that clause was the final piece of the puzzle, because thanks to Paris, we now know what Velvet Clause meant. Federal agents recently obtained a private development contract from a now-defunct production label tied to Bad Boy Entertainment. Buried in the language page, 19 paragraph 4. Subject agrees to adhere to influence conditioning during all appearances under the Velvet Clause. The clause refers to appearance, control emotional modulation, exposure to silent rooms for resonance, dampening. In short, a mechanism for behavioral programming, masquerading as branding. Paris told the court he left the warning in plain sight, but they thought it was art. Turns out, Michael had hired his own coder, someone to help him embed keywords into his legacy files. Velvet Clause was one of them. So was Glass Echo and Mirror Loop. Each one ties back to ongoing investigations into trauma-based artist manipulation. Inside the Will's archival box, court officials found a second red envelope labeled, "If She Ever Speaks." Inside a single sentence written in Michael's Chihai handwriting, "They will try to silence the ones who still sing their own song." Below that, a thumb drive. On it, a document titled, "The Ones Who Escaped." The file contained a list of 14 names. Each had 2 dates. One marked entry, one marked withdrawal. The final name on the list, Paris M. Jackson entry, an AI withdrawal. Initiated, prosecutors believe it, was a tracking document. A list of individuals who had either entered the system willingly or were born adjacent to it and later broke away. And only 3 names on the list had both dates filled. One insider said it wasn't just what Paris showed them, it's that Michael prepared this before she even knew what she'd be up against. That's not paranoia, that's legacy, protection, and it worked. The judge has ordered full forensic review of Jackson estate archives, a separate subcommittee to verify Velvet Clause documents across labels witness protection for Paris Jackson until full disclosure protocols are met. One DA reportedly said, "This just blew open an entirely new line of investigation. And the Jacksons aren't just victims, they're whistleblowers. A father who knew the war was coming, a daughter who refused to echo, and a courtroom that finally heard the You song unfiltered."